NIWA has done a lot of research over the years tracking climate variation and weather events and their impact on rural regions. FarmMet is a product that was launched at Field Days this year. It's designed to combine historical weather and climate data to help make decisions for individual farms, orchards or vineyards. Murray Poulter, Chief Scientist at NIWA, explains.
What we've done is applied our research, and we're delivering weather and climate data that we want to bring down to the farm level so that it's really relevant to what the actual farmers are doing, so they can use it to make decisions in their day-to-day operations. The thing about New Zealand is we know it's a very lumpy country, and the forecast or the actual weather and climate on one side of a mountain range can be quite different to the other side. So the key thing is having a model that has very high resolution. That is, we can do it at a lot of points across the country. Now the problem there is, of course, that the more you do that, the more calculations you have to make, the larger the computer you need. And that's where the NIWA supercomputer Fitzroy comes in. It's a type of computer that's really suited to weather models because of the way it's built. It has something like 3,500 processors, so that's maybe equivalent to, say, a couple of thousand PCs. We have access to about 300 climate stations that are maintained to international standards and distributed throughout the country. There are some areas where we don't have them in the right location, and we'll look to actually put some more in. But the data from them comes in once an hour, and that feeds into our forecasts as well to try and make them more accurate and lock them to that local region, lock them to that data and improve the accuracy. Most of the climate stations have the usual parameters, so there's temperature, usually soil temperature as well as air temperature, wind speed and direction, humidity, rainfall, and in a lot of cases solar radiation as well. And a lot of those parameters will be useful in the future for when we're looking at things like not just predicting rainfall, but predicting pasture growth, where there's a number of other parameters that can actually come into it as well.
Yeah, that's version 1.1.1.
If you get bands of rain coming through the fronts, that's great, but you might know in the summertime you get those convective showers bubbling up.
FarmMet is a wonderful tool. What really separates FarmMet from other products or other forecasts is that it's built for the farmer, it's made for the farmer, and it really helps them with decision support. What decisions do I need to make? What information do I need to help me make the best decisions? For example, we have a 2-day forecast. So what you're looking at here, you're looking at the forecast every 2 hours in 2-hour increments for your farm. For example, here we identified 12 noon. The temperature will pop up in a larger box, and in that will be information such as the wind projected at that time, how much rainfall perhaps falling within that 2-hour period, and as well as temperature. Then we have, of course, 2-week products. This shows how much rain may fall over the 2 weeks, what's forecast. Then it kind of puts that in perspective. What typically falls at this location at your farm over a 2-week period during this time of the year? So you can kind of make judgment, make decisions based on the projected rainfall. And what's neat, that's the 2-week sum, but you can break it down into days. Here is the 2-week prediction day by day, and you can get a sense, get a feeling on the likelihood of these numbers or predicted rainfall amounts. And when you get into these large areas of gray, that's showing that, well, there's a lot of potential outcome. Yes, the 6.3 mils in this example is the predicted rainfall. However, there's a lot of uncertainty because there's a lot of different possibilities, and thus the larger gray shading. So when you see a smaller gray shading, that would imply a more likely or a higher confident forecast, perhaps.
We've been gathering climate data for a long time. In some cases, the station's been running up to 100 years. And the other key thing is the quality control of that data so that you can compare it as time goes forward. We've gone out and talked to people about what they think is useful as well, and making that readily accessible and combining it with the forecast information so you can make decisions based on both. I think in future I see 2 directions we're going to be heading with our research. One is to actually improve the forecasting by improving the models and having even higher resolution than we've currently got, and we can do that with our current computer. And the other is moving those products downstream, as I mentioned, in terms of not just rainfall, but things like pasture growth, potential for runoff and so on, and try and create decision-making tools or information that'll help decisions. We will never make decisions. That's up to the people on the land. They're best placed to do that, but provide them the information that's relevant to making those decisions.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.